Well, it's February the 13th, and apparently it was not our lucky day. This is my second attempt at a video here. We were under the impression that they weren't going to go for witnesses, but as I will attach a link to a video which I won't publish as a regular thing, but you can read it if you want to. So I don't want to put you through it, since some of it's already obsolete within just about before it was fully uploaded. But basically, what's happened here is something I was afraid of. And that is when I saw that the defense team yesterday kept criticizing the lack of an investigation, I said, aren't you opening yourself up to witnesses by doing that? I mean, wouldn't it be, at any rate, I was thinking, wouldn't it be best to put together the best, approximate timeline you can and answer the questions as approximately as you can, and then, in other words, and put some caveats out that this is based on the best information I have and things like that. Well, at any rate, if you like these videos, remember to subscribe and give me a like, and I appreciate any comments you have. But at any rate, apparently some Congress lady whose name I didn't quite catch claimed that she had a conversation with the House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy to the effect that Trump made some comment about when McCarthy was trying to explain the situation there, and that basically some help needed to be sent. Trump made some comment to the effect of, well, the people are more concerned about this than you are, or something like that, which is now being spun as that somehow he was in league with the riot or something, which I guess I'm feeling a little bit like I was a little more prescient than his defense team was here, maybe. That there were some other items I thought they should have tackled a little more carefully and preemptively, and now of course we're going to be into a mess. I don't know. It was a vote of basically the vote of 54 to 46 to have witnesses, with our great Lindsey Graham switching around at the last minute and changing his vote to yes. So it ended up being 55 to 45. Obviously, he would have voted no if the resolution had failed. So the Democrats are game to go, and this could be one of two things. It's probably an ambush, basically along the lines of what we've seen with the in the Kavanaugh case, where you bring up some inflammatory thing at the very last minute to mess up the decision. I mean, because going into this without that decision to have witnesses, it would have clearly been a vote of probably 55 to 45. For conviction, which would mean he'd be acquitted because you need a 2/3 vote. So now it's open to whatever, and of course a lot of people are now going to be at risk here, because obviously these depositions that are going to get taken are going to be under oath, and other people, have said things, and we know how politicians have a tendency to not be totally honest. So I think we're going to have a real mess here on our hands. I mean, some of the people that will be probably subpoenaed will probably be true Trump loyalists that are going to be put on the spot between the legal requirement to tell the truth and under oath and the loyalty to Trump. And oh gee, here we go. I was afraid of this, and I thought the defense, like I said the other day, I was saying, yeah, I think you're kind of going close to the edge there, guy. I mean, I was just thinking this. I'm saying, you're talking about that they didn't do a good enough job investigating. Aren't you asking for witnesses by saying that? Wouldn't it be better just to say, maybe say that once, not make a big deal of it, and then just go into presenting the best case you could present based on the available public data? Also, since you also could argue technically that it's unclear, what kind of emotional attitude he had as the riots developed, relates a lot to whether he had anything to do with causing them to happen in the first place. And which, of course, goes against my own, which shows that the defense items that I was putting out, and I think if you go back to, day 2 or maybe day 1 of the previous videos, you'll see that I was raising the issue of the illogic of Trump wanting something like this, because it destroyed his entire idea of making the election challenge, because it would be impossible to do if the House was shut down due to a riot. And the other comment, which is also, how would it ultimately change the outcome in Trump's favor anyhow? So At any rate, so these are things that were not presented, which might have been a little risky, but now they would have been a lot better to have presented, wouldn't they have been, as we can see. And unfortunately, this whole fiasco will probably drag on for some indeterminate time, and we don't know. I mean, right now, I think they're in a huddle trying to figure out how many witnesses are going to be called and how they'll be deposed, and how far the majority wants to go to impose their version of reality on the world versus obviously, we have about 5 Republicans that are all keen for conviction, I think, maybe 4, and the normal suspects, and the rest of them. I think Graham, I'm assuming that he's changing his vote so that basically he won't look as hypocritical when he calls for more witnesses. Because obviously, if we're going to have the ones that would be potentially reveal bad things about Trump, then you want to kind of also bring out the fact that some other people were derelict. I mean, I still think the possibility that this was sort of a setup, that people deliberately let it happen, is on the part of the the people responsible for security, is probably true, in my opinion. So, they may be wanting to try to get at that sort of information by, like, well, why didn't you bring in the National Guard earlier? Why did you refuse them, etc. So this is where we are. Anyhow, I just thought I would put this in. I think other than that, I think that the defense did a good job on their presentation the other day, and except for, like I said, I think they deliberately introduced this loose end, which is always something to be very careful of when you're doing this. Now, I think they were under the understanding that there wouldn't be witnesses, which was probably a mistake to take any Democrat at face value. That's always dangerous. I'm also kind of wondering why Kevin McCarthy would tell a Democrat about some of these things. I presume the lady that come up with this statement is a Democrat. Again, I haven't even checked that out yet, so if I'm wrong, well, we'll clear that up later. But it seems kind of like an ambush of the thing that we saw in the Kavanaugh hearings, if you remember that one. So, at any rate, and that's kind of it. I'll close this for now, and I will put a link to my previous video in there, but I'm not going to post it as a public video. I'll put a link so people can view it if they care to watch it. I don't know if you want to, because it's kind of obsolete now, because I was presenting the idea that this might be just about over with today or Monday. Well, so much for that hopeful thought, huh? Okay, so I'll close it for now.